the celebration this evening. For the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to showcase some real success stories of our district during, again, a very challenging year. Showcase acts of generosity, great examples of partnerships, and the many programs, some of which you might even have forgotten that we have in existence that are really doing great things. We are recording this presentation. We do have people on Zoom right now, about 25 people that are viewing in Zoom, which is fantastic. So I am going to get started by introducing our very first speaker, who will be showcasing a club global grant project. And her name is Sharon Bailey Souye, and she is from the Rotary Club of South York County. So Sharon, thank you so much for volunteering to tell us about this global grant.
Good evening. I am Sharon Bailey Souye. I'm a member of the Southern York County Rotary Club, and I'm founder and director of Wordless Hope, a nonprofit. We work in Verona, Dominican Republic, in the southwest portion near the Haiti border. In 2014, I began traveling 4 to 5 times a year to work in Bataille 9, which is a remote village of Haitian immigrants. The men in the village work very long days, 6 days a week for $20 a week. The poverty is indescribable in depth, in effect. Wordless Hope's mission is to serve Christ and be the voice of hope to the people in the rural areas of Verona. Education gives them that hope. We accomplish this by providing the children with government-required uniforms. Wordless Hope has been blessed with a $5,000 district grant in 2019 and again this year in 2021 to help to purchase uniforms so the students can attend school. Education is the key to ending poverty. Education develops leaders, and leaders bring change to their communities, their country, and eventually there's a ripple effect out into the world. Education develops a society socially and economically. Wordless Hope exists to bring hope into the lives of these children and their families, to bring them out of this poverty and into self-sufficiency so they will no longer be dependent on the next handout just to survive. Giving these children a uniform is not a handout, it's a hand up. Once they get the uniform, they have the responsibility of working hard to learn and begin to see in their minds a different future, one of hope and better opportunities. This village has a well that is in poor condition and provides contaminated water. The government only provides electricity a few hours a day to this area. Frequently, they go days without power. When the pump is not operating, the people are forced to use water from the filthy wastewater ditches for their daily needs. Wordless Hope organizes medical teams to address medical needs for the children and the adults in Bataille 9. 70% of the issues we treat are a result of drinking contaminated water and bathing in the drainage ditches. I'm currently working with the Verona Dominican Republic Rotary Club and my Southern York County Club to secure a Rotary International global grant to provide clean water to Bataille 9. 25 years ago, INAPA, which is the Government Water Authority, was involved with the construction of the original well at the entrance to Bataille 9. The INAPA engineer that was involved with the original well is working with us to address the age-related deficiencies. The well has been tested for potability and flow to provide to the community. The water source of the original well is clean. Due to antiquated failing pipes at the surface, the clean water becomes contaminated as it mixes with surface drainage and sewerage. The result is contaminated water at the community pumping station. There is a holding tower where the water is stored. The engineer has determined that this well can provide water for the water needs of 65% of the community. To service the remaining 35% of the community, the engineer has found a location in the village for an additional well. The global grant will be used to provide repairs and updates to the existing well and drilling a second well and its associated infrastructure. Additionally, distribution pipes and faucets will be installed for each dwelling throughout the village. Solar backup power would be placed at each well installation. I have conducted many meetings with the leaders and the residents of Bataillon. The village residents have developed a plan to sustain the well after the project is complete. Before March of 2020, we had obtained one bid proposal and were waiting for the completion of the second proposal. At this point, with inflation and prices fluctuating daily, businesses cannot provide quotes for future work. We are eager to move forward as soon as the product availability and pricing stabilizes. Rotary International has 7 focus areas. I'm sitting there, I see that there is a banner over here with them on. So as you can see, peace and conflict resolution, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation, maternal child health, basic education and literacy, economic community development, and environment. The mission work of Borderless Hope targets 4 out of Rotary's 7 focus areas. Our core focus is to educate the children and end poverty and develop them socially and economically. Our medical teams focus on treatment and prevention of medical issues. The water grant will provide for clean water and improve sanitation. Clean water will also prevent many of the medical issues that they deal with. We are currently working to set up a microloan for a startup business in Bataillon. This is the beginning of economic and community development. Next, I have a short video displaying the current poverty and daily life with water challenges in Bataillon.
Advance. Here.
And these you, mama. Nunca dia baik. Mau tuh ya, Sa? Oh, you.
It is rewarding to be a part of Rotary International and involved in the work that we do at home and around the world. I'm grateful that I have been able to personally steward grant money and oversee and document for my club and for the district the impact that our funds have had in making it possible for lives to change and countries to benefit. Thank you for your contributions and hearts to make an impact in the world. May we all leave here tonight convicted to continue to make a difference all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, and your fellow Rotarians. What an inspirational story. I think it shows how well connected we are. We're just a plane ride away, aren't we, from the closest country. Some of my friends I heard take vacations in the Dominican Republic, and I never have really experienced the poverty that you've shown here. So thank you for your contributions and your passion to doing good in the world. So thank you very much. So the next presentation is not a global grant project, it is a district grant project. So, typically global grant projects are of large scale, sometimes six-figure sums of money. Our district grant program involves a maximum of $5,000 total with $2,500 from the club and a $2,500 match from the district. So I want to showcase a project that my club did that involved, again, a very small amount of money, $2,500 from our club that was matched, but had tremendous impact that you'll see toward the end of the story. So I'm going to start with the story of a 10-year-old boy riding his bicycle on April 9th in Enola, Pennsylvania, a local area close to the township building of East Pennsboro Township. So his name was Gabriel, and Gabriel, it was a nice spring day, and he said to his mom and dad, hey, I'm gonna join my friends and take a bicycle ride. So he got on his bicycle, his brand new bicycle, and went out and joined his friends, and he drove down the hill, and in the flash of an instant, a car pulled out and struck Gabriel. As you can see with the quote on the screen, all I remember is riding my bike down the hill with my friends, seeing the flash of a car, and I lost all consciousness. The next thing I knew, I was in an ambulance with people all around me. So to continue this story, Gabriel went on to have a very timely response by the local police of the East Pennsboro Township. They applied tourniquets to his broken extremities, and he was rapidly transported to a local trauma center, the Hershey Medical Trauma Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania, that is both an accredited adult and pediatric trauma center. That trauma center quickly diagnosed his injuries, took him to the operating room, and within 10 days, his injuries were fixed and he was on his way to rehab. In May, we all got to meet Gabriel to hear his story. But I want to take you back to, what were all the factors that were present that really saved Gabriel's life along the way? And it goes back to, first of all, the creation of a program called Stop the Bleed. So a little bit of background about me. I am a nurse. My passion has been trauma nursing for over 35 years. I worked in a level 1 and adult and pediatric trauma center in Allentown, Pennsylvania, in the shock trauma unit for 12 years. I was an educator. I was a trauma program manager and came to this area in 2003 to be director of the Pennsylvania Trauma Systems Foundation. We oversee trauma center care in Pennsylvania. And it's been such a meaningful position for me to be able to influence care throughout our trauma centers, and also to teach hospitals how to be trauma centers and provide timely quality care to injured patients. So I got introduced in 2018 to the Stop the Bleed program. Stop the Bleed was created through the American College of Surgeons Committee on Trauma and some national partners as a way to help the general public be first responders on the scene. So just like with CPR, and CPR is very routine, sometimes EMS is not the first on the scene. You might be at home, you might be in a public area, and you might be the first one to see either a cardiac event or an injury. The Stop the Bleed program really got promoted based on the experience of soldiers in Afghanistan and Iraq in 2012, when they really encountered a lot of explosive injuries. And they did a study at that time looking at survivability. And they found through the use of tourniquets that survival rates were greatly enhanced. And they felt to take those same principles back to civilian hospitals and back to the public arena would help increase survival among the public during times of injury. During that same time as that experience from Iraq and Afghanistan was reviewed and the program was being developed, there were several mass shooting events that I'm sure you all heard in the news, and one of them was Sandy Hook. This was an experience where 20 children were shot at along with 8 adults. And when they reviewed what would impact survivability among the group of these students, they felt that there would have been tourniquets and education of teachers involving how to use those tourniquets in that situation, many more children and adults would have survived. So in 2018, this course was promoted. It was really promulgated among the trauma center community and among its outreach coordinators to go out into the community to teach this course, to get funding for tourniquets, just $20 a tourniquet, but to really educate not just the first responders who have hemorrhage control education, but also the public, school teachers, people who work in airports and all different kinds of public settings. So in 2018, as this was being promoted, we actually were involved in a program for my paid job at the Trauma Foundation. And this was a grant program provided by the UPMC Health System, where after the shooting at the synagogue in Pittsburgh, they got some foundation money from the Jewish Foundation, and they were able to purchase 4,000 tourniquets for state police. Our 34 trauma centers went out and taught over 4,000 state policemen. And they further went out into the schools, Rotary clubs, and other civic organizations to do this education as well. And if you could advance. So this is actually a research study that I'll quickly fly by, but that experience with those 4,000 state police and the work that our trauma centers did was a poster presentation at a national meeting. And it was just one step further in helping us really promote this movement throughout Pennsylvania. So in 2018, past District Governor John Anthony was president of the Rotary Club of Mechanicsburg North at the time. And I volunteered to do a month's worth of club meeting presenters. And of course, as a nurse, every time I volunteered, it had to be healthcare oriented. And at the time, we had a new trauma center in the area. Holy Spirit was Geisinger, now is Penn State. And I thought, okay, that's our closest trauma center. Let's bring them into our club meeting. And let's do an abbreviated version of Stop the Bleed training, just to give everyone a taste of this really important program. So the good people of the injury prevention and trauma program at Holy Spirit came to our club meeting, taught our members about that. And at the same time, we partnered with the East Pennsboro Education Foundation, and Steve Grubb is here somewhere. He's our club member, and that foundation provided us some money along with our club, and we purchased a Stop the Bleed kit for the East Pennsboro High School. So this was step one in really getting that exposure to our club members, getting a bleeding control kit into our local high school, And at that event, which involved the media, Sunny Goodyear, who sits at your table and was back there with her mannequin, was really at the forefront in doing outreach, not just for our club, various Rotary clubs in the area, and the Pennsboro Township Police and First Responders. So when I did a Google search yesterday, I was trying to find a good photo of Sunny, and what I found was, I was amazed because I didn't realize Sunny had really visited. I thought she just visited our Rotary Club, and all of a sudden Carlisle popped up and West Shore Rotary Club popped up. There's Kirk Breckfield, nice photo there of some training done there. Sunny came into my husband's Civil Air Patrol class and taught the cadets about stop the bleeding techniques. And it was at that point, then the following year, where President Jean Troy, it was her turn to decide, okay, what should we apply for as far as a district grant? Well, it seemed that tourniquets would be a logical place to go. We had promoted this program for several years, and about 300 tourniquets were purchased with grant funding and distributed to the East Pennsboro police and other staff that were located at that building. So the culmination of our efforts really resulted in Gabriel's survival. So it just so happened that Gabriel drove his bike down the hill near the township building where we had distributed 300 tourniquets. If it wasn't for the tourniquets distributed, the policeman would not have had a tourniquet on his holster. They had gotten special holsters to hold these tourniquets. And 2 policemen actually had these tourniquets. They each applied the tourniquet to Gabriel's extremity. And who taught those policemen how to apply those tourniquets and do bleeding control measures? But Sunny Goodyear over here.
What happened to her?
So, you know, one of the pictures in the right-hand corner is George Tyson. So George Tyson is a member of the Mechanicsburg North Rotary Club. And it was George Tyson who called us, called Jean, called me and said, hey, those tourniquets we distributed, we heard that it was used on a young boy and it saved his life. Then there was a media event. And so the local TV channels got involved. And Jean and I were interviewed. We met Gabriel's family. We were part of an awards presentation to the local police about the great job they did in saving his life. And it was really, you know, sometimes, and we know this in healthcare, we do a lot of hard work, we do a lot of projects, we don't always see the fruits of our efforts. But this was just an amazing gift to us to see how all the partnerships and the work and the passion along the way culminated in saving this young boy's life. His parents were so grateful. And, you know, a couple of weeks ago, we had the chief of the East Pennsboro Township Police speak at our club meeting. And he told us it was a second victim that was helped through use of our tourniquets in saving a life. So what a really powerful program that involved a little bit of money, but a lot of passion and partnerships to get something very good accomplished. So it doesn't end there because, you know, my organization has a statewide virtual conference every year. And in October, we invited the chair of the American College of Surgeons Stop the Bleed campaign to do our keynote address. And he is a trauma surgeon in New York. Very well renowned, has received many awards. And he was talking about the Stop the Bleed program during our pandemic and how they've really tried to do a virtual component. And as he was doing his presentation, all of a sudden I see our president, Jean Troy, on the screen. I see me on the screen. I see the video done by our local TV station on the screen. And I then Google us and I find out that our club is now on the National Stop the Bleed website as an example of a partnership, a community partnership that saved a life really as an example of the power of the Stop the Bleed campaign. So very, very powerful. So, you know, after Dr. Mark Gestering did that presentation, I reached out to him and I really thanked him for the exposure he gave to Rotary and all his hard work. And I asked him if he wouldn't mind saying a few comments in honor of the Rotary Foundation, of our club, of all of us really, who are involved in this endeavor to use foundation money to do good. So Dr. Gestering did submit a video to me. He said I should tell everyone that he has a face for radio. That's all I can say. So Rob is going to play a video of gratitude.
Good evening. Uncontrolled bleeding is the most common cause of preventable death following injury. My name is Chris Gestering, a member of the American College of Surgeons Committee on Trauma, where I currently serve as chair of the Stop the Bleed Committee. Stop the Bleed is a national initiative that was created to teach people what to do when they are faced with a bleeding emergency. The Stop the Bleed course is designed for non-medically trained individuals, and it focuses on simple techniques that can be used to control severe bleeding in an emergency until help arrives. The Stop the Bleed initiative is also focused on positioning bleeding control equipment in the public space where it can be easily accessed when needed. Just like CPR, the skill itself can save lives, but quick access to an automated defibrillator can significantly improve survival. The same goes for Stop the Bleed. Skills you learn can absolutely save lives, but immediate access to bleeding control equipment can make a significant difference. This was the case when a 10-year-old boy was struck by a car while riding his bicycle in East Pennsboro Township earlier this year. This young man is alive today due to the quick actions of first responders, as well as the community partnership that existed between the local trauma center, which provided the life-saving education to those responders, as well as the Rotary Club that helped to provide those responders with the life-saving equipment that they used that day to save that boy. It is my privilege tonight to recognize the work of Rotary District 7390 and the Rotary Club of Mechanicsburg North for their support of the Stop the Bleed initiative. In my mind, there is no better way to protect your community. Stop the Bleed training is not difficult and the equipment is not expensive, but the impact of being prepared in an emergency cannot be overstated. This is important work, and it's a real privilege for me tonight to thank all of you for your support of Stop the Bleed and your ongoing support of the communities that you serve. Please visit stopthebleed.org to learn more about this life-saving program, and thank you again for your commitment to your community. Good night.
So when I really, thought and mulled over the impressive nature of what was accomplished with a small amount of money and a lot of passion and partnerships, I really thought about Rotary's 4 strategic priorities and how we were able to accomplish in large part increasing our impact by saving lives and also expanding our reach from our local community to a national level. Dr. Gestering has been in touch with me and said, Juliet, I really want to have a meeting with you to talk about how the American College of Surgeons can partner in the future with Rotary International to promote the Stop the Bleed program. So I am having a meeting with him in the next couple of weeks. This is a preliminary meeting. I'd like to see what partner means. Does it mean money? I hope. Maybe some media exposure. But either way, what a tremendous opportunity to be partnering with this national, very well-renowned organization. I want to give special thanks to many people who made this project possible. Certainly, I want to thank the leadership of our Rotary Club, President Jean Troy, past District Governor John Anthony. We have a tremendously passionate district grant committee here that does a lot of work, and we have a district grant subcommittee. Amy and Nigel, I don't know if you want to stand up and wave, but they do a tremendous amount of work. I also want to thank, the East Pennsboro Township our own Township Commissioner, George Tyson, who's a member of our club and the staff there. Certainly want to thank our local trauma center, Penn State Hershey Medical Center. And I want to thank Sunny Goodyear. And Sunny had water spilled on her during dinner. And she thought she wouldn't have to stand up, but I want Sunny to stand up and I want you to come to the podium. This woman is a dynamo. I mean, she's a nurse, she's an outreach coordinator, she's everywhere. She's passionate about what she does. And I mean, she is just another role model for me, so enthusiastic, really keeps me going when the job's challenging. And so I really want to give you a certificate of appreciation for all you've done, not just for our Rotary clubs, but as a nurse during this pandemic. You have been on the front lines and you represent all that's good about nursing and service above self. So I want to thank you for that. And as a personal gift, you're not a Rotarian, so you don't know this part about Rotary, but when each of us donates money, we get this gift of points. And when we get up to 1,000 points, it's called a Paul Harris Fellow. And we're allowed to give those points away. And so I'm going to give 1,000 points of my points to you, and you're going to receive a Paul Harris Award in the mail from Rotary International. It's the first gift of my points I've done. It's a long time in coming, but what a better person to be recognized by Rotary International. So I just want to thank you for all of that. All right, thank you so much. I mean, two great examples of what a little bit of money can do for big impact. So the next person I would like to have step up is Mr. Ed Howe, who is the leader of our global grant program. So Ed, I'll hand it over to you, and then we've got a video to play.
I'm concerned my voice isn't going to hear. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you've heard tonight about an example of a global grant, a water project from our first presenter. Global grant scholarships that I'm going to talk about are another type of global grant, and they're designed to start a really capable young person on a career path to one of Rotary's 7 areas of focus. So that's what global grant scholarships are about. It's the successor program to the Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarships program, which is a cornerstone, which has been a cornerstone of the foundation since 1948. Now you, our district Rotarians, fund these scholarships along with the other global grants through your contributions. A portion of our share allocation determined by district leadership along with matching money from the World Fund produces these scholarships. The point I would like to emphasize tonight is that any club can participate and nominate scholars for this particular program. It doesn't require you allocating or budgeting money in your club budget for it. So everybody's equal. Your candidate, even if you're a small club, is equal with any others. Just a couple quick points. Excuse me. Quick points. Global grant scholarships are for a first year of graduate study abroad. The study must be in one of Rotary's 7 areas of focus, which you see to my left. And that person must have a credible plan to have a career in one of those areas of focus. It's a $30,000 grant for that year abroad. It's kind of the minimum and the maximum. And the applicant must be a resident of our district, or they must have attended or recently attended a college within the borders of our district. So who are these young people? I'd like to just tell you a couple quick stories before we get to our current Global Grant Scholars, because these young people are just so capable. We had Yusra Jabani a few years ago. She was a scholar. She graduated from Franklin Marshall College with a BA in government and Arabic language. She pursued a Master of Philosophy in International Relations and Politics at the University of Cambridge. That was her global grant, promoting peace. And currently, Yusra is working in her stated area. She works for an international financial institutions team in the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And this young woman speaks Dutch, English, Arabic, and advanced and intermediate French and German. So talk about language skills. A quick word about our scholar, Emily Voris, who just returned from a year in the UK. She was a Dickinson College graduate with a bachelor's in anthropology. Immediately after her time at Dickinson, she went to work primarily in working in nutrition and various nutritional related disciplines in Maryland. She did a certificate program in global health. While she was working, she came back to us to do a global grant scholarship to further her education. She just returned from the University of Sussex in Brighton, England, with a master's in food and development. And in her spare time this summer, when she came back, she did an internship with an organization called World Fish that, studies dietary restrictions. Their focus is on sustainable food systems, sustainable food sources, primarily fish and how that relates to diets. Emily's going to be returning to the UK in November. She's planning to apply for different jobs in the nutrition area in the UK, because the UK has been a big implementer, along with the US and Australia, in various nutrition programs around the world. She does have a little bit of a home court advantage, because in addition to having her American citizenship, she also has a British mother. So she has a British passport as well, which will make those contacts in the UK. I would like to say a word about our current scholars before we show the videos. And we're not sure if her parents got the link, the parents of these two young women got the links or not.
I sent it. Yeah.
We sent a link to the parents of these two young women. These young women should be in bed by now in the UK. They shouldn't be up listening to this, but maybe their parents are. And what I would just like to say to the parents, if they're listening, how very proud we are of these two young women that just have wonderful backgrounds and wonderful records. And we're very proud to sponsor these two for your abroad. Catherine Mercer, Katie Mercer, both of these young women graduated just this spring from Gettysburg College. Katie graduated with a BA in Health Sciences. Her global grant scholarship, she is at the London School of Hygiene and Medicine, studying for a Master of Science in the control of infectious diseases. Jenna Thoratz, who's actually on the right, in the lower part, and on the left of the other picture. Jenna is a Gettysburg College graduate with a BA in Political Science and Public Policy. She is studying at the London School of Economics for a Master of Science in International Development and Humanitarian Emergencies. So with that, we'll play the video.
Lost the voice. Still going.
These are young people. These are all young people who are going to impact our world. So look in the district Rotary Reporter in the coming weeks. There'll be information on the scholarships. Applications are due for the current cycle in mid-January, interviews in February. So thank you for your attention.
Sorry for the pauses, getting used to the technology. Okay, I mean, the next part of our program is really a fantastic video, and my brother-in-law, Chris Altenberg, is on Zoom. Chris spent tremendous amount of time putting this video together. We had 26 clubs participate in district club grants. The majority of them submitted photos. If your club did not, Chris is still willing to incorporate your photos and your project into this video. But this is a 4.5-minute video that really celebrates both our district club grants, global grants, and the generosity of all of you and all of us during a very difficult and challenging year. So Rob, if you want to play the video. So I know Chris is on Zoom, so thank you, Chris. And can we give a round of applause for Chris Alter? Okay, at this point, it's our award presentation time, and I'm going to invite past District Governor John Anthony and past District Governor John Cram to come forward to present awards from the last Rotary year and even some, I believe, from the year before, perhaps. So, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Governor-elect Julia. Yeah. Isn't it amazing what you and I do?
Yes.
In communities
Yeah.
and the world.
Yes.
You're not involved in a project directly. You help fund good lives in the world and good lives in our community. And we have such tremendous impact. We are going to start with awards from past District Governor Patty Rooney's, who unfortunately couldn't be here. What we're going to do is we're going to name all the clubs in a particular category. If a representative from that club will please come up to Vanna up here, you will get the banner. You can call me Pat. And we'll take, hand you that. And then you're taking pictures and Melissa will take a picture. Are you ready?
Yes.
Summary. Okay, the following clubs, will the representative please come up? Mechanicsburg, Hanover, Mechanicsburg North. These are the top 3 per capita in the district. Mechanicsburg, $348 per capita. Hanover, $302, and Mechanicsburg North, $283. Thank you. Another round of applause, please. The next category is 100% Rotary Foundation donations. Thank you. Hanover, Carlisle Sunrise. Hanover, you were just up here, where'd you go? Carlisle Sunrise, okay. Eastern York County, Lancaster Hempfield, Northern Lebanon. Oh, thank you. Palmyra, West Shore, and York North. 100% giving by their members. Thank you. And the third category is an every Rotarian every year club, Carlisle Sunrise, Northern Lebanon, Palmyra, and York North. And I think this is the final category for supporting the End Polio Now donations to Polio Plus. Carlisle, Elizabethtown, Gettysburg, Harrisburg, Lancaster Penn Square, Lancaster Sunrise, Lidditz, Mechanicsburg North, Mount Joy, Uptown York, York, York East, and York North. Thank you for supporting Polio Plus. For those of you who haven't heard, 2 more cases of wild polio virus were reported last week, both of them in Afghanistan. Our promise to the children of the world is not yet completed. We're working on it. And in addition, the system, the infrastructure that we have set up for polio plus eradication is also working on COVID. That's not widely publicized. Last year was particularly challenging, and thanks to the marvelous leadership of our immediate past district governor, we're still able to recognize some wonderful clubs. First, the top 3 per capita clubs, hold on to your shorts. West York at $510 per capita. Lidditz at $417 per capita. And Harrisburg at $401 per capita. Thank you all. Did you notice that those numbers were larger than the previous years?
Where they got that from?
West York. West York. I will enunciate better. The next category is clubs with 100% foundation giving. Carlisle Sunrise, Eastern York County, Lancaster Hempfield, Northern Lebanon, Palmyra, West Shore, and York North. Big round of applause for 100% giving. Thank you. And then we had 4 clubs, every Rotarian every year, E-Ray, Lancaster Hempfield, Northern Lebanon, Palmyra, and York North. I don't have a list. The total foundation giving award presented to the Rotary Club of York, Harrisburg, and Gettysburg. And the annual fund giving award presented to the club for having the highest total annual fund giving to the Rotary Foundation during the year 2020-21, Harrisburg, York, and Lancaster. During past District Governor Kevin Cogan's year, he established another recognition for clubs who perform a global grant in one of the areas of focus. We have one this year for Mechanicsburg, a global grant in El Salvador. Thank you all for your amazing work in your communities and in the world, and for supporting your foundation.
Thank you so much, past district governors. And look at this, 8:21, 1 hour on the nose. I'm just going to make some final thank yous. One person who's really important to thank is Melissa. Melissa, where are you? So, you know, I was told that being district governor-elect, this was something like my first coming out party, you know, to be in the spotlight. And Melissa made it so easy and makes it easy for all of us in these leadership positions. So I wanted to give her a token of appreciation. I went to the wine and spirits store. I felt this would be good stress relief for you, Melissa, and a little something for your desk. Christmas flower. So thank you for all your support for us. I also want to thank the district grant committee, and we've got several subcommittees involved with global grants and club grants. And so everyone who is part of that committee structure, please rise and be recognized. I mean, the last thank you really is to all of you. So for any club here who participated in a district grant or global grant ever, stand up and be recognized. lot of hard work, passion, and commitment, and you deserve recognition. And I couldn't end all of this really without putting a pitch out. So it's quite an honor to be in a district leadership position. Yes, it takes time, but as my predecessors before me have said, you are overcome with the generosity of the clubs, and it keeps you passionate and enthusiastic and moving on. And so with that in mind, I want to let you know that we are looking for future district governors. And I know there are very talented and passionate people in this audience. If your heart is pulling you in this direction, there are many of us in this corner of the room who would love to speak with you. It's an incredible experience. You get such a big picture. You really feel connected, not only at the local and district level, but worldwide. And Rotary International does an incredible job at leadership training. So please give it some thought. We're accepting applications through December. It's got to be an application that is supported by your club, and it is really the experience of a lifetime. So I encourage any of you to come forward and talk to us more about it. So with that said, I thank you very much for your participation in this evening's event. Have a safe drive home, and thanks again for all your generosity.
Everybody online, thank you very much for participating, and have a great night.